let me give you an example. This is a real story of a customer who calls into a flower shop in Long Island, New York. Early in the morning, this is how the call comes in. Ma'am, I need you to ship dozen roses right now to this address. Here's the address. Here's the credit card information. Here's my expiration date. Do it. From a technical standpoint, the employee has all the details that she needs in order to go and process this transaction. However, she pauses and she turns to the customer and she says, "Sir, it seems like you're having a really hard day today. What's wrong?" And the customer turns to her and says, "Please don't ask me questions. Just ship the dozen roses right now to this address." And she insists and she said, "Sir, please tell me, why are you so stressed? What is wrong?" And he again, "Please don't ask me questions. Just ship the dozen roses. That's what I want you to do." And she insists again. She says, "I'm going to ship them right away, but please tell me, why are you so stressed? What is wrong?" And he turns to her and says, "You want to know what's wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong, okay? I worked really late last night. I came back home. I found out that I forgot my anniversary. My wife was upset. I slept on the couch last night. My back is hurting, and my wife is screening my calls. Are you happy now?" The employee very calmly turned to the customer and she says to him on the phone, "Sir, I'm really sorry to hear that. With your permission, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to add a small note from us, the flower shop, that will explain to your spouse that it was actually us who made a mistake yesterday and shipped a dozen roses to the wrong address. And I'll throw in a small box of chocolate. Would that work for you?" And the customer is silent on the line. "Sir, are you still there?" Now hold your thoughts for a moment. Let's make it very, very clear. I do not support flower stores who actually tell spouses that they are taking responsibility for their forgetful husbands. By all means, this is just for illustration purposes. This is my legal disclaimer. Keep it as such. Let's go back to our story. The customer is mumbling on the phone, are you going to do that for me?" And the employee says, "With pleasure. I would be happy to do that." Now ask yourself, what are the chances that this customer will turn to this employee and say to her, "Oh, by the way, I checked on the internet and I can get a dozen roses for about, $5 less. So why won't you go talk to your manager and see if you can reduce the price?" You're laughing. It's pathetic. No one will dare to challenge that and challenge the price. Of course not, because she just saved him. And what did she do? She refused to process this transaction until she understood the emotions. There are the physical attributes, but there are also the emotions. And she understood if somebody wakes up early in the morning and is stressed on the phone demanding to ship dozen roses, probably they screwed up. There is an issue. There is a bigger issue. There is a bigger story. And she refused to actually process this transaction until she understood the story. She could have been in the flower business, but that's a dime a dozen. Everybody can ship flowers today on the internet. They don't need a person to help them. But what was the real problem of this customer? Let's think together. The real problem of this customer is he needed his wife to forgive him. What she delivered is not a bouquet of flowers. She delivered a marriage extension. And then 2 days later, by the way, she'll call him after she did exactly as she promised, and she'll turn to him and say, "Sir, how's your back?" And she said, "Oh, thank God, thank you, I'm back to the real bed, everything is great." And she'll turn to him and say, "By the way, you seem to be a very busy person. Why won't you give me all the anniversaries and birth dates of your friends and family? I'll put them in my CRM system, and I get an alert 2 days before each one of those dates. I'm going to call you, we'll decide together what to send them, and this will never ever happen again." How many of you will actually give her your birth dates and anniversaries? You probably want her phone number right now. Of course you do. And she just took a $29.95 transaction and converted it to a $5,000 relationship on a commodity product called roses, which everybody can get anywhere today. What she focused on is creating a memory. She was creating a 10-year memory, not a 10 seconds memory.